this is LWDQ, and I thought I'd throw a video up this time with my Necromancer, and to kind of cover the idea or the issue that Necromancers, they tend to be a little weaker, on the weaker side for groups, and that is very true. I mean, they just kind of a little slow for a group game. But that doesn't mean they can't offer any kind of benefit to groups, depending on what your expectations are. But I want to go over a few different ways that they can be, useful in groups as you're leveling up or as you're doing tasks and missions and stuff like that. Just whatever you. It's not a whole lot, but it's stuff. It's stuff that maybe some people might kind of forget about, even if they've been playing the class for a while, say in their box team or something. And one thing I do, even when I'm playing by myself, is I like to use this buff here. And it's got a long cooldown, very long cooldown, about, I think it's about a minute, close to a minute anyway. So you can really just, when I'm soloing, I can cast it once a fight. Then the group, it's not going to be able to go off every other fight probably. But it gives everybody in your group no matter what mob you cast it on, whether it's a caster mob or a melee mob or anything like that, because it will do an initial steal of mana. But then it also has a recursor effect that restores 1,773 mana to members in the entire group, which also includes mercs, by the way. So if you're maybe at a point, this is the highest level, but this type of spell is at least from 100 up, you'll have this type of spell to be able to use, I think. And it's useful to kind of keep you moving, I like it because whenever I use it, I don't ever really have to take a break at all. I'm moving. Even when I'm not using it, I don't have to take much of a break. It takes a while before my mana gets down to a point where I feel uncomfortable and I'm like, I'm just going to sit for a few minutes to let my mana regenerate a little. But so this is one thing that helps the entire group. Say if you got a druid, which are always desperate for mana, in your group, and it stacks with I think most with any other mana regen type of thing. I think it stacks with the Beast Lord one too, actually, the Paragon. It'll stack with that. I could be wrong on that. Double check before but I'm pretty sure it stacks. So that's one thing, right, that you can do. The benefits a group. It's kind of nice, keeps everything going. Another thing is, I've mentioned this quite a lot, but this spell right here, combined with the synergy, let's see if that comes up. There you go. Defiler's synergy. This is the max rank of it, but increases the damage dealt whenever you cast this. This always comes up, right? And this is in addition to the chaotic power that this can generate, right? But for the entire group, this right here increases the damage dealt by your critical, direct damage, and damage over time spells by 50%. Now this is a shorter buff. It only lasts like 15 seconds, something like that. But it says duration is 12, but it's extended a bit. I think it's around 12 seconds. Or not 12, like 15 seconds. So this is helpful for an entire group's DPS, and it's actually recastable fairly short. Maybe a 5 or 6 second global cooldown on it, and it rocks. The chaotic power is only for you, I believe. It's just your spells. So the chaotic power that this can proc is only you, but the synergy one is really this right here. This this AA always costs a whole bunch to try to get a rank in it. So once you get going on it and you're maintaining it, it's a chore, but you know it's doable. But that's really good. This is good to always cast ones up when you're in a group. This can be helpful depending on your group makeup. Um, Also, what can be helpful is slowing the mobs by the system that I've showed, that a Necro can slow any mob, whether it's dead or alive. It's easier when they're undead, but if they're alive, all you have to do is use the bones nuke, I call it, right? And when the debuff goes off from this, it'll turn a live mob undead, and then you'll be able to slow it. I do this routinely. It does about a 49-50% slow, but it also tacks on, you know, a cripple effect that, you know, reduces strength and agility and stuff like that, and also reduces the by 14%, I think, the ability to dual wield for the mob. So it's not as near as good as the shaman one. I mean, odds are you're going to have a shaman, okay? And that's not going to be needed. I always have it, even with the shaman, because I like to use this undead dot, but that's just something for me. Obviously, we always, and this is a lot stronger if you cast it on a undead mob versus alive. So whether or not it's going to be a mob that I need to slow or not, I always do that. That's just part of my personal rotation. Plus, this is cheap. This Scourge of Eternity is, by this level, you know, 3,200 mana, and plus it's reduced by various little things you have on your character. That's chump change in mana terms. So, oh, what else? Oh yeah, this right here, the leech. This does a recourse, plus it does damage, but I always have this going also because it does a heal for the entire group, a heal over time for 99,553 hit points every 6 seconds for, will amount to pretty close, once it's extended, pretty close to a minute. Actually, wait, it might go over a minute actually. Anyway, it's extended. So, and also something I've learned is that when you happen to twin cast this leech spell here, this will also be twin cast, which means it's going to heal for twice the amount, which is nice. This stacks with every heal over time that any other class can cast. Cleric, shaman, druid, whatever. I don't think druids really have heal over times much. They have regens, but they don't have heal over time, which is different. But anyway, the merc heal over time, stuff like that, this stacks with it, which is super nice for mitigation, especially when you twin cast that leech spell. You know, you double this, it's close to like, you know, 10-20k hot every 6 seconds. That, you can't scoff at that. That's pretty good. So there's that helps the group out really nicely. Now, aside from spell things, I'm probably forgetting something, but I'm going to move on here. And you can be a very serviceable puller because you have FD, and also because you have a pet that can help you too when you FD. So that can be helpful. Obviously, your pet can tank stuff generally pretty well, the group level anyway. So if you're short somebody that can tank very well, or maybe the tank you have is a little under-geared, something like that, yeah, just have the pet tank that hold good aggro. I like to trick out my pets, but even if you just put mage gear on the Necro pet, as long as you have a max aid, all your AA is done for your pet, you know, it's gonna do a good job. So you can restore mana. Yeah, so that's pretty good. You can, when you're in a group and you're just grinding until you get to maybe a rare or something difficult, I would suggest not throwing up all your dots every time. It's going to get wasted, right? So what I like to do on the rare occasion where I actually get to group with my uh, Necro instead of my Ranger, I like to, I always do, obviously I'm going to put attack, there's that. Um, I have a item that throws out, this right here is a clicky item that throws out a Tosh that lowers magic resistance. It's not always needed, but if you happen to be able to get this um, in the plane of shadow off the Dark Lady, this can be very helpful in a group if you're short somebody that can Tosh. Um, I use the burn slow, so I send the pet in. I ensnare them first. I just go right down the line. So no matter what, I'll ensnare. Oh, also eradicate magic is good to knock off any buffs on. That's something you can do on solo. That's not necessarily group specific. So then I'll hit that, and then this burn slow thing I've named. It does the whole thing where this right here will slow the mob also if everything goes well. And then the dots I would use. See, I would do that. This puts a really strong dot, especially if it's going to be really strong if the mob is undead or you've turned it undead. You get that going, then I would hit I would make sure you either do the swarm pit. I would always do this, right? This is going to cast that. And then in this slot, what I have, sometimes I have this mana thing. Otherwise, I'll have the swarm pets. Let me go ahead and switch it around. Now this switches the order here. When I have my swarm pets up, I always like the swarm pets to go first before I do the blood nuke. But you get swarm pet you can throw in there. It can be decent for helping to off tank things too. And just gotta keep doing that. If they between your pet and the synergy that you're throwing out here all the time, plus this dot when it's thrown on a mob that's classified as undead, it's pretty good DPS. If you want to add a little bit more, you could throw in some AA pets. You might want to throw out just one more dot depending on your the shorter dot. So either this dot wouldn't be bad. This is basically the same thing as this dot, but you don't have to monkey with. And well, actually, this does more damage because it lasts a little longer. This is pretty good to dot. It'll get resisted a little more often than this. I've actually never seen this resisted ever. Even on a live mob. This right here is same, very similar damage. Was it exactly the same? Similar, just slightly less per tick. Or if you want to splurge a little bit, you could throw this out. I would not do all three of these shorter dots. Never use swift dots. I say again, excuse me, I'm sorry. Never use swift dots from a Necro because they're not long enough to get the benefits of your AA bonuses that you get, your passive AA bonuses or even the active ones for your class. Maybe someday they might fix that, but for right now, they are never worth using. If they were worth using like they once were, you could put the Swifts out there, and that would make much more sense in a group that's killing this trash mobs faster. But you're going to see a drastic reduction in your DPS and what you're going to contribute in that way. I'm not saying, you can use them if you really want. I'll leave it up to you, but I don't ever mess with them. I'd rather just throw down one strong 30-second dot than to mess with trying to casting 2 or 3 swift dots. It's just not worth it. It's just kind of a waste of time. Because I can cast a 30-second dot and cast this again instead of messing with putting out 2 or 3 swift dots, So, and that's going to be more DPS and more beneficial to the entire group because I'm able to weave in, this nuke that gives the synergy. I call it synergy nuke or whatever. You're going to be able to do that more often. So and there you go. There's a number of things you can offer a group. It's not as obvious as some other classes, but you're not completely, it's not a throwaway type of situation. If you're playing a Necro and somebody needs somebody in the group, if you happen to get other people, whatever, and just feel confident that you can contribute in a meaningful way to a group and have fun. All right, so that's about it. This is Elwood EQ. I'm out, and you have a great day.